Buddha was a Hindu the way Jesus was a Jew, right? He was born a Hindu prince, and his father, the king, didn't want him to see pain, suffering, or death. So he was not let out of his castle for the first 16 years, and then he went on his journey for 40 years to find the origins of pain, suffering, and death. And then at the end, he came to believe in these four noble truths. The first one is that the essence of life is dukkha. This is funny, I'm arguing with the Buddha. Now, I actually like to make a qualification and say the essence of life as perceived by human consciousness. And I think that's really important because that's the distinction I made between myself and my cat, Ellen. And then the word dukkha is best translated as unsatisfactoriness, but you'll usually see it as suffering. But I think that's too strong. It's more like anxiety and stress. Now, this is the most important thing, I believe, is the second noble truth, because it gives us some insight into humanistic psychology, how our mind is operating. The root cause of unsatisfactoriness is desire, which shows up as craving and aversion, or clinging and aversion. You know, our mind is built to try to cling to happy experiences, pleasure, and try to avert that. The third noble truth is that it is possible to stop the suffering, and the way to do that is through the Eightfold Path. I like the word propitious, most favorable. And the first one is to have an accurate understanding of the nature of things, which is that the root cause of suffering is desire, and that life is full of dukkha. And then the second one is to try to avoid thoughts about hatred, harmful intent. The third is most propitious speech. And that's beautiful in our culture because it basically means don't gossip. Right? So I like the third part of the Eightfold Path. The fourth one is action, refraining from misdeeds, killing, stealing, sexual misconduct. The fifth one is livelihood, so avoiding trades that directly or indirectly harm others, selling weapons, slaves, intoxicants, poisons. The sixth is propitious effort, abandoning negative states of mind, preventing negative states that have yet to arise, trying to sustain positive states. And then the seventh is propitious mindfulness, having the correct understanding of your body, your feelings, your thoughts, and phenomena. And then the last one is concentration, being able to meditate. So that's the Eightfold Path. And you can think of it as the ways to keep yourself at the high end of your happiness spectrum also, if you espouse positive psychology. So there's one beautiful adage from Chinese Buddhism which is called 10,000 joys and 10,000 sorrows. Like if someone said to you, in this lifetime you will enjoy 10,000 joys, but you'll have 10,000 sorrows, for a second you're like, well, that seems fair. And then you'll notice your mind say, like, no, like I want 10,001 joys and 99999 sorrows. And you can think of Las Vegas in the same way. Statistically, you're going to lose. Right? There's a famous joke, what's a surefire way to win in Las Vegas? Invest in the casinos. So if you know all of the numbers, roulette's the worst, it pays 37 to 1, but you only win 36 to 1, and then craps is the best, it's essentially 50-50, and if you count cards, you can kind of alter blackjack, and if you know how to bet correctly. But in general, it's stupid to go to Las Vegas, right? And that's the way your mind works. It doesn't listen to the statistics. It thinks, no, I'm different, I'm going to win. That's why I play the lottery. That's why, I want 10,001 joys. So the three jewels of Buddhism are taking refuge in the Buddha, which this is very poignant for me. And the way I like to explain this is taking refuge in your Buddha nature, meaning that it's a gift to be born with human consciousness, right? Because in previous lifetimes, you were a tree and a cockroach and then a rock, and now you have consciousness. And so you should use it to become awakened, right? So taking refuge in just the incredible gift, which obviously is also a curse for a lot of people, but it's a gift in general, having consciousness. And then the second is taking refuge in the Dharma, which is the law of how the universe is operating and your relationship to it. And then the third is taking refuge in the Sangha. And as I said before, the only thing that correlates strongly with happiness is the quality of your intimate relationships. So Sangha is community. For aeons, human beings were tribal. Your brain is basically devised to recognize, I think, 140 or 150, I've heard up to 200 faces, but beyond that, no. Because we just need our tribe. And then you have the Industrial Revolution, and people move to cities and away from their families and away from their tribes, and then they try to create new tribes. And we're basically working against our own biology in some capacity by living in these urban areas, estranged and alienated from people living in one-bedroom apartments like we do in New York City. And you wonder why there's a plethora of antidepressant medications and things like that, because we're built to live in tribes. The reason I put the section on Vedanta and Hinduism first and then on Buddhism second is to show you that there is no one size fits all. You need to find the tools, the meditation, the type of yoga that works for you. So I love to make this distinction. If you are theistic, then some type of Hindu meditation will help you go to the other side of your thoughts to help you realize your inner divinity. Now, as I said, the Buddha was a Hindu the way Jesus was a Jew, but at the end of Buddha's meanderings, he believed that there was no self to transcend and no divine to transcend to. So mindfulness is akin to weightlifting, to build a muscle. They use the analogy of taming the puppy. But if you believe in something higher than yourself, then some sort of transcendental meditation, which I can't say the transcendental because there's a trademark around it, but I like to say transcend. It doesn't matter. But you want to transcend, go to the other side of your thoughts so that you can realize your inner divinity. But if you don't believe that in anything divine, then you should practice mindfulness meditation, which has tools to help you reboot your hard drive and try to get some insights into why you think the way you do, and just tame, not allow your thoughts to drag you around like a horse. So John Kabat-Zinn gave the definition. Mindfulness is the awareness that emerges through paying attention on purpose in the present moment and non-judgmentally to the unfolding of experience moment by moment. And then under mindfulness, there's either open monitoring, which is kind of like what we did with the visualizations, observing your thoughts. That's just open monitoring them, like watching them come in. And then there's controlled focus, like the body scans and things like that, where you're aiming, you're concentrating on a finger, then a wrist, then an elbow, and things like that. Okay, so that's mindfulness meditation. And now let's go on to one bonus section.